And let's see what else. Something that we also think is very important is recognizing your VISTA. And this, I mean this positively and negatively. So this year, for most of your VISTAs, this is going to be a very large learning curve for them. And this is the first time that they have been in a professional setting, and things that we think are common sense, they wouldn't know. You know, how to put together, how to like rent a room for a training, how to, you know, things that we're like, oh, we know how to do that, but they just might not know. And so I always go with, they don't know what they don't know until they're taught. So just keeping in mind that this is a huge learning curve for them, and this is a year of growth for your VISTA members. So being patient, and also like, I think Natalie at Davenport said, just, you know, making the space for them to ask questions. So let's see, what else do we got here? And we also think that it's important to acknowledge growth. So even if things can be stressful, or they do have weak areas, acknowledging growth. So Maggie, we were talking earlier, but she said, like, telling your VISTA, okay, like, I know that this training was really hard for you. There was a lot of people, but like, you have grown so much in these last few months of your service here, and like, your ability to train the community members at this point from when you started has increased so much. So just offering them that positive feedback. We think that it's important also to just like show appreciation. So if you do have the ability to take them out to lunch, maybe like once every few months, but it doesn't have to be like that. It could just be something very simple as like a thank you card after they finish like a huge event, or finish out the school year strong, just saying like, thank you so much for all of your work, and thank you for your time. And that means so much to VISTA members. So those are some things that we think are important for VISTA supervisors to keep in mind with the incoming cohort. And Jake, do you have anything else?
Just important to remember that this is a novel experience. For some of these members, it's their first time in an office. For some of these members, it's their first time doing national service. For some of these members, it might be their second or third year being a VISTA, but you know, every year is different. So just be aware that there is novelness for a lot of these members.
And I think I already said this, but I'm going to say it again. Just giving your VISTA members feedback. So something that we've experienced this year is VISTA members are like, I know I'm doing a lot of work. I know that I'm putting in 100% of my effort, but I don't know how I'm doing. And so I think that being able to touch base with your VISTA and really give them feedback on what they're working on means a lot, because they know where they stand. So just keeping that line open for communication and feedback.
Thanks, guys. This leads us to talking a little bit about motivation and some tips about how you motivate your VISTA during the course of the year, especially when they're going through one of the lulls that we talked about in the common cycle of service. So connecting with them about their motivation for serving, talking about end goals and what they want to get out of this experience, and then like, this is touching on what Jake and Shaylin said before, but constructive criticism and utilizing performance reviews, as well as providing positive reinforcement and making the work relevant to the overall goal of the project, and not just providing busy work in the meantime. Although every position has its like share of busy work, I know our team is going to spend part of tomorrow making binders. That's just like, it has to get done. But while we're doing binder making, maybe we'll talk about the reason why we're making the binders and connecting you with, again, like the reason why you're serving and the overall goal to it. And then we also have, and if you have other tips about how to motivate your VISTA during the course of the year, I would love to hear them so that we can continue to take advantage of your knowledge and experience as supervisors. So please feel free to share that in the question box as well. And then in terms of ongoing supervision for the year, we like to look at it more as coaching rather than supervision. So you can see that coaching is really like a culture of ongoing learning and growth, versus supervision, which can be a bit more hands-off. And coaching also involves helping them come up with their own solutions to problems, where supervision is telling them what they need to do next in order to get to the next step. Throughout the service year, when you provide coaching and supervision for them, expressing your expectations, listening to your VISTA, clarifying whether you have an open door policy or what you expect from them in terms of communication, and making yourself be a resource, and then also celebrating national service, not only with your specific VISTA member, but overall, can help remind the VISTA that they're part of this larger group that is impacting our entire country, and that what they're doing is quite noble. And then we also encourage you to recognize situational problems that occur throughout the course of the year, so that you can troubleshoot them appropriately, and helping to continue to develop their skills through professional development opportunities and giving them the chance to try new things. A side note, CNCS did a webinar in the spring about addressing mental health challenges, because they've actually seen an increase in members with mental health concerns who have struggled during the course of their service year. So the webinar explores what supervisors can do throughout the VISTA life cycle to support and enhance the overall well-being of VISTAs, so that the challenges of VISTA service don't negatively impact the member's ability to serve or worsen pre-existing conditions that they might have. So the link to the webinar is here, and I can send it out afterwards if any of you are interested in it. And this is another example of the resources that are available to supervisors on the VISTA campus. So these are our top 10 ideas for a successful VISTA year, put together by a group of VISTA leaders who worked on this throughout the whole country while they were serving. So a lot of these things we've already talked about, like scheduling the weekly check-ins, being available, tailoring activities to your VISTA's interests. Shaylin also suggested building a relationship with VISTAs outside of the professional setting to make sure that they have quality one-on-one time, that sort of thing. So I'm curious to know, I'm going to launch this poll. Which of these ideas do you utilize regularly during your member service? Maybe I did. Oh, great. Okay. No one answered for a while, and that made me a little bit nervous that I'd done the technology wrong for it. But it looks like you guys are answering now, so thank you for that. And we'll keep the poll open for another couple of minutes, but I want to keep moving on. So also we want to talk about your own experience with supervision, not only as you've supervised members in the past, but sort of most importantly, what are you committing to during the upcoming year? What can you promise your VISTAs that they'll receive in terms of supervision and coaching from you? And lastly, in the question box, if you could also write down your advice for new VISTA supervisors that we can utilize during Tuesday's in-person training, if there are things that we haven't already touched on. And I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. So Lorraine mentioned having a VISTA attend a board meeting and actually inviting them to attend all the board meetings, but definitely having them come to at least one. And Allison suggested creating meaningful conversation during menial tasks. Like maybe binder making? Love it. Thank you, Allison, for that reference. So that way you're really making the most out of your quality time together while you're engaging in the inevitable busy work that occurs in positions. That's great. If anyone else has any advice for new members and new supervisors, we'd love to hear it. And in the meantime, we're going to move on and talk about my maternity leave. So you guys, I'm having a baby, and he is due in early September, so I'm anticipating being out from early September to mid-October. I don't think that a lot of things will be affected by my departure, except for our fall site visit and my presence at some upcoming trainings. So our plan is that during September, Mary and Zakia, our new VISTA leaders, will contact you and your VISTA to schedule a Skype site visit beginning in November. And then the only sites at this point who I anticipate receiving a in-person visit during the fall will be brand new sites and Lansing area sites. If you have a, obviously if there's a problem on site and you need our team to come to have one of those discussions, one of the disciplinary protocol discussions, please let us know so that we can arrange for that to happen. This is sort of the plan, assuming that everything goes hunky-dory with no problems. And then in the fall, after our post-PSO in October and November, we'll be holding regional trainings and additional post-PSOs for members who are starting off cycle. And Zakia and Mary will take the lead in planning those, and I will be in and out in terms of attending those trainings. Again, those don't necessarily affect you as the supervisor because you're not expected to attend those trainings. This is just a heads up about how the program is going to operate during that period. And Zakia and Mary will be having check-in calls with members throughout the fall, but it will be important for supervisors to reach out to us if there are problems on site. So please don't wait for the scheduled site visit in November to share if you have concerns about a member or to share if your member's having like some kick-butt successes. While we generally assume that no news is good news, on your end, it is our job to be here and support you and the member, so please don't hesitate to use us as resources. I also want to formally introduce now Sarah Pinder. Sarah's going to be leading the program in my absence and working closely with Zakia and Mary to do things for the program. She has experience with national service from previous positions, as well as being here at M&A and working closely with me on supporting members and host sites in our programming. And she's like a training whiz. Sarah, do you want to say anything?
Well, thanks, Maggie. Yeah, just hi and hello to everyone. I've, with being in part of Maggie's program in the last year or so, I've attended a few of the trainings, joined you guys for lunch, so I know that I've met most of you. And I look forward to working with you this fall as Maggie goes out to expand her family. And to Jake and Shaylin, they've done a great job this year. I know they've recruited an awesome cohort for us next year, so we'll be sorry to see them go, but I'm looking forward to working with Zakia and Mary as well as all of you supervisors. So please just know that you can reach out at any time, and I will do my best to fill in for Maggie. That will be a challenge, but I'm sure that we can work out and help you guys to provide any support that you might need.
Great. And so, thanks, Sarah. I'm hoping to stick around for another 6 weeks or so. So in the meantime, please continue to reach out to me with questions, and Sarah and I can work through them together as part of the process. Also, thanks for the nice notes about a baby. Guys, I really appreciate that. That's so sweet. And yes, here on the right, you'll see a real-life photo of a previous baby I had.
That's how she is now.
What's her name? She is still my daughter. And she's a toddler, and she's hilarious. I would be happy to tell you stories about my crazy kid somersaulting in the produce aisle at Kroger. So unnecessary. Okay, so that's the big maternity leave update that you've all been waiting for, and then a reminder about timesheets, and especially for school-based and campus-based sites. CNCS has kind of changed their policy a bit, where VISTAs are not just automatically granted winter breaks the way that they kind of have been in the past. VISTAs are, like, our program officers expecting VISTAs to serve through breaks in the same way that they would if they were at a nonprofit organization. So unless they use their personal time during the holidays to not serve, then they are expected to serve. And if you have questions about that, we can certainly work through it throughout the fall and as we go into December, but I want to make sure that we're on the same page leading up to that so that the VISTA doesn't have false expectations about what's happening. And if the building is physically locked during the winter break, then they can arrange to serve off-site, and we've got forms for that, that sort of thing. Talk to the VISTA about dress code and professionalism, site visits and evaluations. I think we've already touched on that. Reporting, please remember to review the quarterly progress reports before your members submit them, as that's the data that we use to make our grant viable with CNCS, so we want to make sure that it's accurate. I just did a site visit with a member who forgot several of her community partners and wasn't reporting on all the data accurately, and the supervisor was able to correct that and remind her about the impact that she was making. And then the program dates are part of the calendar that I've attached in the handout section, so please review those. Our mid-year training, which is the next time that we will all be together in person, will be in March. I think it's the 14th and the 15th, and we've connected that this year with the MCAN, the Michigan College Access Network Conference, for those of you who are also planning on attending that. So I hope you're able to attend that, and also our monthly webinars are important, so please don't schedule staff meetings for the first Wednesday of the month at 10 a.m. or allow the VISTA to leave during that time so that they can actually be part of our monthly webinars with them. Okay, I think that's everything. The last bit, I don't know how to go backwards on this, but yeah. Program handbook, the website, mnavista.org, has electronic copies of our program handbook on it, and as well as other paperwork and the blogs that the VISTAs do throughout the course of their year, so please check out those sites and utilize them. And then I wanted to share the data from this year with you. So we're still expecting members to report on their the end of their service year for the August people in the August QPR, which I think is going to open up like this week, tomorrow. So in the last 3 quarters, in the last 9 months, your members have done amazing work collectively to impact our state, and I hope that you're as proud of them as I am with the impact that they're making. So please feel free to share this, or I can send it out as part of their end of the year acknowledgement. Good work, y'all. I think that's it. So if anybody has any other questions, it's 3 o'clock right now, so we're, well, it's 2:57. I'll stay on the line to answer questions as long as you all need me. Thank you for participating, and please feel free to reach out if you have any additional questions or concerns. Okay. Yay, Wednesday. I don't know how to end a webinar, so. Natalie, the first day that Maddie will be with you on campus is Monday, August 14th. So she'll be going to PSO August 8th through the 11th, and then starting on the 14th. And then she'll come to M&A for our post-PSO training, August 28th to 29th. Good question. I should have talked about that during the the bulk of the webinar. Okay, great. I don't see any other questions. Feel free to sign off and have a kick butt day. I'm going to end the webinar shortly.